small eyeshadow brush. Woo! Set it and forget it. From the second I put this on, I absolutely loved my makeup. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before, and if you haven't been here before, please subscribe to be part of the bilingual family, which is mostly me attempting to speak English. In today's video, it's gonna be a tutorial. I know some of you like that, others don't really have the attention span, which I completely understand, to watch a tutorial because it can be kind of boring, I don't know. So in today's video, I wanted to show you my graduation makeup, the makeup that I did and wore for my graduation, because I thought it could be a fun video to do. I was actually very much in love with the makeup that I did back then. Back then it was like Tuesday. But I would say, you know, grab your makeup products, try to find similar colors and do some makeup with me. For the actual base makeup, I decided to go with what I typically use, and that is my sunscreen and a little bit of like moisturizer. I don't use anything else. I use my Cosrx Aloe Soothing Sunscreen in SPF 50+. This is my all-time favorite sunscreen, a great sunscreen. I already put it on my face to save you some time because you don't want to see me applying sunscreen, I think. And then I also use a little bit of my Glow Recipe niacinamide dew drops, something like that. I use this on the perimeter of my face and not really in the center. Forehead, cheekbones. I'm gonna do my eyes first because we're gonna do some liner, and if I like mess it up like I did on my graduation day, I want to be able to fix it for you guys, so we're gonna do that first. Quickly going to prime my eyelids with the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer, which is my favorite one. Okay, so for my graduation makeup, the palette that I used the most was the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. I also use the Nabla Secret palette because this is my favorite palette to use. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take a combination of the shade Orange Soda and Burnt Orange, and I'm gonna put that all up in the crease. So we're gonna use that shade and put it basically on the crease but not really on the lid. You want to avoid the eyelid as much as you possibly can. So next up, I use the shade Rustic in the Soft Glam palette on just a tiny brush. This is a Boozy Shop small eyeshadow brush. Woo! Take that product, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on the outer corner right here, and I want to create a little bit of a shadow in that area. So what you want to do is you want to take your brush, put a little bit on the outer corner first in a V shape, and then blend it up very slightly upwards. And then you're gonna want to take like the same brush and you want to dip very slightly into the shade Cypress Umber and really tap off any of the excess that you get, and you want to apply that on top of that rustic shade, and this is going to give it a little bit more depth and dimension at the same time. It's gonna deepen it up even more. Okay, so once you've done like the outer corner, you want to take that same rustic shade on an even smaller brush, and I'm gonna take that same shade and we're gonna put that on the inner first third of the eye, so really like the inner corner of the eye, again leaving the center of the eyeball blank, so no color. And this is going to create that kind of like halo-ish spotlight eye. So you want to place it there and slightly blend it out, but the big blending part is something that we're going to do later on. And again, you want to take that Cypress Umber shade and deepen up the inner corner, keeping it really close to the lash line. Okay, so we got so far. Now is the difficult part. Now is the eyeliner part. So I have this boot liner from Glisten Cosmetics in the shade Gateau, and I am going to use the darkest shade of this brown. So then you take a liner brush. This is a Spectrum X Katie Jane Hughes 22 brush. It's just like a very fine liner brush, and what I do is I take just a little bit of my setting spray. This is the Rare Beauty one. I'm gonna mention it later on. So what I do is I basically go not as straight upwards because I don't like that look on my eyes, but you're gonna see it. So what I like to do is I like to apply my eyeliner straight instead of up, and then when drawing it in, I do make it a little bit like slanted, so it's not as straight, the liner, but I just find that that is just a little bit more flattering on my eye shape. Okay, so this is the liner. It's not as good as when I did my graduation, but it's fine. I remember feeling the exact same way. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the shade Cypress Umber in the Soft Glam palette again, and just any kind of angular eyeshadow liner brush. Because the eyeliner is a little bit red in tone, it's not going to completely match what I have in my mind, but mainly to also set it. And then I like to take that same brush that we use Cypress Umber and Rustic for to kind of create dimension, and we're gonna put that on top of the liner and smoke it out a little bit. And then I'm gonna take my Nabla Secret palette, which is the juice to this look, and I'm gonna take that shade Play Hard with my finger first. We're gonna put that in the center of the eyeball. From the second I put this on, I absolutely loved my makeup. And then as a final step, we're going to take that Cypress Umber shade again, and we're gonna reapply that in the inner corner. So now we come to the very extensive part, and this is absolutely insane. For foundation first, I used 3 of them, 2 of which are the same product, to be honest, but different shades because I felt like I had to. The Charlotte Tilbury's Beautiful Skin Foundation in the shade 1 Neutral, this one right here, and then I combined it, or I mixed it together with the Fenty Beauty Easy Drop or Ease Drop Blurring Skin Tint in the shade 2 and 3. I love the like longevity and just the overall finish of the Charlotte Tilbury ones, but at times I do find it to be a little bit too glowy. So I wanted something that also has the same kind of longevity but isn't as glowy and is a little bit more blurring, and for that I really love the Fenty Beauty Ease Drops. They are a little bit blurring on the skin, a little bit more on the satin side, I would say, almost matte looking. Even though I love these separately, I have been using them since that day together because I just love the combo of it. So I was very happy with how my skin looked and how well my foundation held up throughout the evening. Next up, for concealer, I used 2 concealers because I have a problem. I used the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer and the Vieve Modern Radiance Concealer. I really like the coverage and just like the overall look of the Vieve one, but I also really like the lightweightness and the more liquidy feel of the Catrice one. So those are the concealers. I mean, like, how flawless does this look? Like, obviously it still looks like skin and stuff, and it still looks like makeup on skin. For powder, I went with 2 of my favorites, the Essence All About Matte Fixing Compact Powder and the Kosas Cloud Set one. I went for the Essence All About Matte Fixing Compact Powder because this is really fixing. Like, it is a kind of dry powder that really sets your makeup and it doesn't budge. So I wanted to mix it in with something that is blurring, and the combo of these 2 together blew my shit. I was so happy with it. So next up is powder, and listen, I'm sorry, okay? I am deeply sorry, but I have 3 bronzers. I used the Cosmetics So Soft Sculpt bronzer first, and I use this one because I really like overall blend of this product, and I really wanted to use a cream to put a powder on top. I just put it on the back of my hand. You just want to tap it on. So that's the Cosmetics bronzer. I just love the way that it looks. It's also like a matte cream product, so it's really nice for like longevity as well. Then next up, what I put on top of that was the Patrick Ta for face, the Patrick Ta Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo, and this is the shade She's Statuesque, and I used the powder one because this is one of my all-time favorite bronzers, and I really wanted to use it because I know it performs well, and also I wanted to set like the bronzer that I have on. And then lastly, I know this is overboard, but lastly what I did is I took the Colourpop matte bronzer in the shade Avila Beach, and this looks like a fairly neutral shade, but it's actually quite warm toned, and I wanted an extra little bit of warmth to my skin. For blush, I only used 2, thank the Lord, but I still used 2. One of my absolute favorites, this is the Patrick Ta She's So Elate blush. This is again one of the duos. In this one I did use the cream, and you can tell by how it's panned that I just absolutely love this blush. And then disaster struck and I accidentally deleted like the 2 last minutes of this tutorial. So we're doing a voiceover and I'm doing it again. And also I had this filmed and then I wanted to do the outro and my neighbor did this. So that was great. Voiceover it is. So we were at the Patrick Ta Shiso Elate blush. So we're not going to use the powder, but we're going to use like the cream, and we're just taking that on a sponge and putting that on top of the Kiko Milano powder. This is a blush that I dearly love and I feel like it really elevates the look. Next up, I'm using the brush that we use for powder, and I'm just putting some powder on top of it, just to really blend everything together, the blush and you know what. Next up, we're using the Rare Beauty Always an Optimist setting spray, and we're just absolutely drowsing our face into this. Drowsing is, I guess, not a word, but like we're drowning in the moisture. And then we're gonna do lips. So Nabla Close Up Lip Shaper. If you watched my previous video with my fall favorite lippies, you know that this one is my absolute favorite lip liner of all time. So yes, of course, I was going to use this one. Then we're using the Vieve Modern Matte Lipstick in the shade Coming In Hot, which is a beautiful, beautiful nude. And this is giving me like that nude that I want with a little bit of yellow to it. And then to counteract the yellowness, we're going to use the Kiko Milano Lip Balm in 08 Almond. And this is going to give it a little bit more of a reddish shade. Taking the hair down, and this is the final look. This is the final look. I really like just the overall eyeshadow, of course, the way it complements and the way that my skin looks. I feel like, you know, it's just very juicy and stuff, and this is a little bit of a close-up and how I actually wore my hair. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll obviously see you in my next one. Bye!